Good evening. This, the 99th meeting of the 71st term of the Baltimore City Council, is now called to order. Please turn off all cell phones or put them on vibrate. Tonight's invocation will be led by Councilwoman Holton. After the invocation, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. President. Eternal, gracious, and loving God, creator of heaven and earth, we gather this day seeking to do your will on behalf of the citizens of this great city. God, we call upon you to invoke your presence in our midst, that individually and collectively, our thoughts, words, and actions may bring greater peace, greater unity, and forward progress to Baltimore City. Lord, we ask that you keep within each of us a humble spirit, a loving heart, and a civil mind towards all the people. You have appointed us with authority to represent your people. Help us and guide us to do so with mindfulness of purpose to do no harm. God, we ask that you bless our mayor, our council president, and all council members of this august body. Equip us to be active and attentive listeners to the concerns of our citizens and to act in their best interests and not our own. We ask that you grant us wisdom and discernment to effectively fulfill our oath of office and to govern with fairness and humility. Help us to meet the needs of the least of these in our city with limited resources at hand. For you are in the business of making the impossible possible, and we trust you to continue to do what only you can do. As we embark upon our business this evening, we thank you for being the God of our weary years, the God of our silent tears, the God who has brought us thus far, and the God who will see us through. This we know for sure. The best is yet to come. And it is in your name that we offer this prayer, and let all those assembled say, Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Reverend Holton. Thank you. The clerk will call the roll of the members.
President Young, Kraft, Scott, Curran, Henry, Spector, Middleton, Mosley, Welsh, Reisinger, Costello, Stokes, Holton, Clark. Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Chair recognizes Councilman Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to journalize today's invocation.
Are we not there yet?
I can't do that now? I gotta wait?
Well, we're...
Okay, I can sit down.
Okay.
We can do it again later.
All right. Thank you. Today's showcase Baltimore presentation is the winners of the If I Were Mayor essay contest.
Okay.
Come on up.
I'm Gianna Given. I'm in 5th grade, and I go to Wolf Street Academy. If I were mayor of Baltimore City, I would take a child from a city school and make them mayor for a day, because kids know what kids want and need to make the city better. I would give them a little suit and tie to look professional. They would help me make choices for the children in the city. I would also put trash cans on every block. Then the streets and sidewalks would be cleaner. Hopefully people would respect the hint. Maybe I would put signs on them that read, "Please use the trash can." It would give unemployed people jobs as garbage men. I would start a disability school in the mall so parents can go shopping for what they need and leave their child at the school to learn how to walk or talk and try to fix their disability. There would be teachers to help them stand and walk. There would even be someone to help them learn to speak. This would make more jobs in the city. It would also encourage parents to raise their children in the city. These are the things I would do if I were mayor of Baltimore City.
am Dimitri Avgerinos. I am from the school John Rural Elementary Middle. I am in 5th grade. I think a big problem if I was mayor, I think a big problem in Baltimore is littering. Every day I look at Baltimore, I see trash everywhere. The trash winds up in the Inner Harbor and then goes in the Chesapeake Bay. Trash makes Baltimore look ugly. My plan is to get everyone involved because we have to be united to reach this goal. I would need recycle bins so we can recycle items. I would need a microphone so I can let everybody know what to do. I would need the help of city officials so they can start the cleanup. I would let people I know to pick up trash. I would have a trash hunt near City Hall for kids. The trash hunt would be like an Easter egg hunt. The kids would find the trash while the adults have a meeting about keeping Baltimore clean. We would have a parade around Baltimore while picking up trash. We will have a contest to see who picks up the most pounds of trash. Whoever wins will get a tour of City Hall and a free poster that says, "I kept Baltimore green and clean." I would let people know by putting it on the news. I would put it on Facebook. We would have a festival about picking up trash. You would buy things by putting trash in bins at the stands at the festival. I would give out flyers for the official city cleanup. Always remember to pick up trash. Remind people to pick up trash and keep Baltimore green and clean.
My name is Laisha, and I'm in 5th grade, and I go to Wolf Street Academy. If I were mayor, I would allow people to immigrate with respect and without documents. People who work hard should be citizens. I would also give money to the homeless. They would have shelter and food. I would also lower the cost of education or make it free. This way, more people would have an opportunity to have an education. It would also give children with disabilities a place to play and learn, so they would also have an education. If I were mayor, I would also make the city safer with more police present, so there would be less deaths. I would also have trash cans in every block so the city would have less trash in the streets. I would also give families money when a loved one dies. They would send the body to its hometown. I would do that if I were mayor.
Mr. President, if I may, I would like to give these certificates to each of the children. All of the certificates read the same. The City Council of Baltimore resolution, be it hereby known to all that the City Council of Baltimore offers its sincerest congratulations, and I'm going to give each of your names in a minute here, in recognition of your places in the essay contest, If I Were Mayor essay contest. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs that this resolution be presented to you this 21st day of September 2015. And this is signed by President Jack Young, myself, on behalf of every single member of the City Council. And so right now we're going to give this one here to Gianna Given, who is a student at the Wolf Street Academy, and she won second place in the If I Were Mayor essay contest. Gianna, this is yours. And we're going to award this one to Dimitri Avgerinos, and Dimitri goes to John Rura Elementary School, and he won third place in the If I Were Mayor contest. Congratulations, Dimitri. And our final goes to Leisha Garcia, who is a student, come on up here, at the Wolf Street Academy, and she won first place in the essay contest. Congratulations.
Yeah, we can we have a motion to extend second by Council Vice President Rosing. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carried. You can bring them to the floor. We're only allowing this because the kids have to leave. They have to go back to school. I mean, they have to go home to get their schoolwork done.
To bring up Mr.
They have to
Mark
go home to get
Gaither,
their schoolwork done.
Principal of Wolf Street Academy. Congratulations, okay? And if you hold on here, we're going to take some photos.
That's great. See, it's way better with you. Thank you so much. All right, ladies.
Thank you all very much. Congratulations to the kids. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Councilman. It is the Councilman's Generalized Invocation Act for motion to generalize the prayer. Motion by Councilman Henry, second by Councilman Costello. All those in favor of generalize the prayer say aye. Aye. All those opposed nay. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. We will now proceed with the adoption of the journal.
Mr. President, the journal of proceedings from the August 17th City Council meeting is on the council members' desks.
Is there a motion to approve the journal? Motion by Councilwoman Middleton, second by Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark. All those in favor of adopting the journal say aye. Aye. All those opposed nay. The motion carried. The journal is adopted. Bill signed by the mayor can be found on page 2 of the agenda. Executive nomination.
EA 15-0294, Kevin Davis, Police Commissioner, Baltimore City Police Department.
This has been assigned to the Executive Appointments Committee.
EA 15-0295, Gloria Diggs, Member, Commission on Disabilities, 4th District.
This has been assigned to the Executive Appointments Committee.
EA 15-0296, Lori Patria, Member, Commission on Disabilities.
This has been assigned to the Executive Appointments Committee.
EA 15-0297, Jessica Salmon, Member, Commission on Disabilities, 11th District.
This has been assigned to the Executive Appointments Committee.
EA 15-0298, Maria Gabriela Aldana Enriquez, Member, Hispanic Commission, 14th District.
This has been assigned to the Executive Appointments Committee.
EA 15-0299, Patricia Letke, Member, Hispanic Commission.
This has been assigned to the Executive Appointments Committee. Bills will be introduced.
City Council Bill 15-0561, approving the submission of an application to the State of Maryland for the designation of a regional institution strategic enterprise zone. Marion City Council resolution for the purpose of approving the designation of the University of Maryland at Baltimore as a qualified institution under the state's Regional Institution Strategic Enterprise Zone program, approving and joining in the application for designation of a RISE zone at 873 West Baltimore Street, Baltimore, Maryland, and granting a real property tax credit for qualified properties in this RISE zone. Sponsor City Council President on behalf of the administration.
This has been assigned to the Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0562, sale of property, 10 South Frederick Street. Ordinance for the purpose of authorizing the mayor and city council of Baltimore to sell at either public or private sale all its interest in a certain property known as 10 South Frederick Street and no longer needed for public use, and providing for a special effective date. Sponsor City Council President on behalf of the administration.
This has been assigned to the Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0563, sale of property, a portion of the former bed of Cardiff Avenue. Ordinance for the purpose of authorizing the mayor and city council of Baltimore to sell at either public or private sale all its interest in a certain parcel of land located in block 6840 adjacent to lot 122nd that is a part of former bed of Cardiff Avenue is no longer needed for public use, and providing for a special effective date. Sponsor City Council President on behalf of the administration.
This has been assigned to the Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0564, Waterfront Management District, Extension of District. Ordinance for the purpose of extending the Waterfront Management District to encompass certain adjoining blocks, modifying the criteria for for local businesses, organizations, and residents to be represented on the Board of Directors of the Waterfront Management Authority, correcting, clarifying, and conforming related language, making this ordinance subject to certain contingencies, providing for a special effective date, and generally relating to the Waterfront Management District and Authority. Sponsored, City Council President, on behalf of the administration.
This has been assigned to the Urban Affair and Aging Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0565, personal property tax credits, food desert incentive areas, ordinance for the purpose of establishing a tax credit against the personal property tax imposed on qualified supermarkets and food desert incentive areas, imposing certain limitations, conditions, and qualifications for credit eligibility, providing for the amount, duration, and administration of the credit, defining certain terms, providing for a special effective date, and generally relating to the personal property tax credit for certain supermarkets. Sponsor, City Council President, on behalf of the administration.
This has been assigned to the Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0566, Portable Homestead Tax Credit, extending coverage. Ordinance for the purpose of extending the Portable Homestead Tax Credit to include otherwise qualified homeowners who also receive a targeted homeowners tax credit, providing for a special effective date, providing for the application of this ordinance, providing for the automatic termination of the portable homestead tax credit under certain circumstances, and generally relating to property tax credits. Sponsor, City Council President, on behalf of the administration.
This has been assigned to the Taxation, Finance, Economic Development Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0567, Charter Amendment, Children and Youth Fund, Mayor and City Council Resolution for the purpose of establishing a continuing non-lapsing Children and Youth Fund to be used exclusively to supplement services provided to children and youth, requiring a minimum annual appropriation to this fund, authorizing the Mayor and City Council by ordinance to provide for the oversight, governance, and administration of this fund, and submitting this amendment to the qualified voters of the city for adoption or rejection. Sponsor, President Young, Curran, Scott, Costello, Middleton, Henry, Holton, Stokes, Kraft, Welsh, Clark.
Please note that Councilman Mosby, Councilman Reisinger as co-sponsors. This child amendment, the Children and Youth Investment Act, is a landmark piece of legislation that will change the way Baltimore City budgets funds for our children and youth. This piece of legislation will earmark 3% of the city's budget, an amount equal to $31 million, to be placed in a fund specifically for Baltimore's youth. This ordinance will create a framework for assessing the needs of Baltimore's young people and outline types of program eligible for funding. It will spell out the limits on the usage of dollars and collect data on programs that receive awards. We all understand that there are a number of big-ticket expenses on the horizon, but we must deliver a message that our children are worth fighting for. We are placing our money where our mouths are. We are saying loudly and clearly that our young people are worth the price. They're worth the investment. I want to thank all of my co-sponsors, and I'm assigning this to Judiciary and Legislative Investigation Committee, and I'm going to ask the chair to schedule this hearing so that we can have this ready for the ballot in November. Thank you.
City Council Bill 15-0568, Public Ethics Law, Administrative Modifications, Ordinance for the purpose of conforming exclusions from the definition of interest to those recently added to the state public ethics law, clarifying certain other exclusions, modifying, updating, and clarifying provisions that require certain timely notices to newly appointed public servants, modifying, updating, and clarifying provisions that require agencies' assistance in preparing for and administrating the annual filing of financial disclosure statements, updating and clarifying provisions that require a record of persons inspecting financial disclosure statements, and generally relating to administration of the city ethics code. Sponsor, President Young, Middleton, Stokes, Holton, Kraft, Spector.
Please note, Councilman Scott, Councilman Henry, Councilman Mosby, Councilman Reisinger, Councilman Kern, Councilman Welch. Any more co-sponsors? Okay. This has been assigned to the Judiciary Legislative Investigation Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0569, City Streets, naming an unnamed alley Harry Way. Ordinance for the purpose of naming an unnamed alley located between the 500 block of South Clinton Street and the 500 block of South Highland Avenue, Harry Way, and providing for a special effective date. Sponsor Kraft.
Chair recognizes Councilman Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, Harry Lloyd Wallace Jr. worked at the Highlandtown Boys and Girls Club from 1964 to 2000 when he retired. He was born in New Kensington, Pennsylvania. He was director of the Highlandtown Boys and Girls Club for its last 10 years and known as the father of Highlandtown. He fought in Korea from 1950 to 1953. He won 3 Purple Hearts, the Bronze Star, and he was elected by President George Bush to bring back 3 veterans from Korea for proper military burial. He lived across the street from the Boys and Girls Club at 514 South Clinton Street, and we are going to name this new street after Mr. Harry. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. This has been assigned to the Judiciary and Legislative Investigation Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0570, Urban Renewal Highlandtown Business Area Amendment. Ordinance for the purpose of amending the urban renewal plan for Highlandtown Business Area to remove a certain land use category from the plan, to repeal and replace Exhibit 1, Land Use and Zoning Map, with new exhibits to reflect the change in land use with the removal of a certain land use category, and to reflect the change in land use and the change in zoning upon approval by separate ordinance for the properties known as 3232, 3234, and 3236 through 3244 Eastern Avenue, and to add a new height limitation provision for new construction in the community business land area use of the plan, waiving certain content and procedural requirements, making the provisions of this ordinance severable, providing for the application of this ordinance in conjunction with certain other ordinances, and providing for a special effective date. Sponsor Kraft and Scott.
This has been assigned to the Urban Affairs and Aging Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0571, rezoning 3232, 3234, and 3236 through 3244 Eastern Avenue. Ordinance for the purpose of changing the zoning for the properties known as 3232, 3234, and 3236 through 3244 Eastern Avenue, as outlined and read on the accompanying plat from the B22 zoning district to the B24 zoning district. Sponsor Kraft.
This has been assigned to the Land Use and Transportation Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0572, zoning conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to a 4-family dwelling unit in the R7 zoning district, variances 1715 Spence Street. Ordinance for the purpose of permitting, subject to certain conditions, the conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to a 4-family dwelling unit in the R7 zoning district on the property known as 1715 Spence Street, as outlined on read in the accompanying plat, and granting variances from certain lot area coverage and floor area ratio requirements. Sponsor Reisinger.
This has been assigned to the Land Use and Transportation Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0573, rezoning 502 Albemarle Street and a portion of Duker Alley. Ordinance for the purpose of changing the zoning for the property known as 502 Albemarle Street, as outlined and read on the accompanying plat from the B32 zoning district and the M22 zoning district to the B24 zoning district, and by changing the zoning for a portion of property known as Duker Alley, as outlined and read on the accompanying plat from the M22 zoning district to the B24 zoning district. Sponsor Kraft.
This has been assigned to the Land Use and Transportation Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0574, rezoning 1430 to 1444 Lawrence Street. Ordinance for the purpose of changing the zoning for the property known as 1430 to 1444 Lawrence Street, as outlined and read in the accompanying plat from the R8 zoning district to the B24 zoning district. Sponsor Costello.
This has been assigned to the Land Use and Transportation Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0575, rezoning 1520 through 1530 Beeson Street, 1600 Beeson Street, and 1220 Towson Street. Ordinance for the purpose of changing the zoning for the properties known as 1520 through 1530 Beeson Street, 1600 Beeson Street, and 1220 Towson Street, as outlined and read in the accompanying plat from the M22 zoning district to the B13 zoning district. Sponsor Costello.
This has been assigned to the Land Use and Transportation Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0576, Planning Commission site-specific matters, notice and hearing on applications for final administrative decisions, ordinance for the purpose of requiring a public hearing by the Planning Commission with posted notice for all site-specific matters over which the Planning Commission has final administrative authority, specifying the size, contents, construction, and number of signs to be posted and the matter and timing of the posting, qualifying the Planning Commission's authority to determine what constitutes a minor modification to a plant unit development, modifying certain provisions, requiring advance delivery to council members of commission meeting agendas, and correcting, clarifying, and conforming related language. Sponsor Clark, President Young, Middleton, Henry, Stokes, Kraft, Welsh.
Any more co-sponsors? Please note that Councilwoman Holton is a co-sponsor, Council Vice President Reisinger, co-sponsor Councilman Mosby is a co-sponsor, Councilman Kern is a co-sponsor. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Clark.
Mr. President, members of the council, thank you for your support in co-sponsoring this legislation. To make a long story short, when it comes to legislation about how to use land in the city, it comes to the city council and you got to post a sign to tell people it's coming. A sign they can see in the neighborhood. When you're going to the zoning board because somebody wants to open a restaurant with outside seating, or somebody wants to have 2 units in a single family house, and it's going to the zoning board, you got to put up a sign so the neighborhood knows what's going on and where the hearing is. I'd like the same to apply to the Planning Commission. I had a very unfortunate thing happen. Hose Heights went to the Planning Commission, and the day before, they called me up and said, you know, there's no sign posted that they're going to approve the development plan up here for these 40 townhouses. So I wrote an email and I called, but I was out of town, so I couldn't go. And so the rules of the Planning Commission say that you have to have signs posted. But when the neighbors got to the Planning Commission, the commission waived the rules and had the hearing and approved the development. So this says, okay, it's got to be more than a rule. Let's have a law that says, like everybody else, when it's a land use issue in which the Planning Commission has the final say, you got to post. It's the law. And so that's basically what this does. And you have to post for 15 days in advance of the hearing, so everybody in the neighborhood knows there is a hearing and that your decision at the planning is the final decision. Now, if it's to advise the city council about, gee whiz, our advice is, city council, it's a great bill and go ahead with it, you don't have to post a sign. So we don't want to waste the Planning Commission's money. But if it's something like a subdivision of property or a final development plan at Hose Heights and Medfield, yeah, you gotta post the sign. Thanks.
This has been assigned to the Land Use and Transportation Committee. Oh, please note that Councilman Branch is co-sponsor.
City Council Bill 15-0577, Stormwater Remediation Fees Reduction, ordinance for the purpose of reducing the stormwater remediation fees imposed by city law and providing for a special effective date. Sponsor Stokes, Middleton, Welsh.
Please note that Councilman Scott is a co-sponsor, Councilman Vice President Reisinger, co-sponsor, Councilwoman Clark, co-sponsor, Councilman Branch, Councilman Kern. Any more co-sponsors? Councilman Costello. Okay, Chair recognizes Councilman Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, colleagues. Mr. President, the federal government and sometimes state governments often send down an unfunded mandate to the cities of America. They want us to do a lot of things, but they often don't send the money that will allow us to do those things. Those are good things. However, the taxpayers and people who are working poor, working class, even middle income, are left holding the bag in terms of making it work. In the state of Maryland a couple of years ago, there was properly a call for certain jurisdictions within a watershed to work hard to mediate stormwater runoff so that it doesn't damage our harbor, our lakes, our streams, our Chesapeake Bay. They also mandated that fees be attached to that and passed on to the citizens of the local jurisdictions. This past legislative session, the same legislature rolled back or repealed the mandatory fees for each subdivision. Most of the other subdivisions canceled those fees entirely, but I think it is important that Baltimore City make sure that they have a way to pay for this. However, cutting this in half would still give us the highest fees in the entire state of Maryland. I think we're able to take care of this great civic duty by reducing the fee without overly burdening the taxpayer, the property owner in Baltimore City. This is not just a particular fee, but the water rates and the additional fees are the number one concern among the constituency, at least in the 12th district. Those are the calls that we get most around these issues. And so I am asking my colleagues to consider in a hearing if we're able to roll back some portion of the fees. Again, we will still remain the highest fee in the state of Maryland, but I am asking for some relief for the property owners in Baltimore City. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. This has been assigned to the Judiciary and Legislative Investigation Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0578, Tobacco Products and Smoking Devices, Increased Penalties, New Prohibition, Ordinance for the purpose of increasing the penalties for violation of certain laws governing tobacco products and smoking devices, prohibiting distribution of tobacco products and smoking devices near schools, correcting, clarifying, and conforming related provisions, and generally relating to the use of tobacco products and smoking devices. Sponsor Holton, Scott, Costello, Middleton, Henry, Kraft, Clark, Welsh.
Please note Council President Young, co-sponsor, Council Vice President Reisinger as co-sponsor. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Holton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier this spring, I introduced legislation to create buffer zones prohibiting the sale of tobacco products around schools. That bill's on hold because there's some issues to be resolved at the state level that we're working on, and that is myself and the health department. In the interim, we looked at what could we do, because unfortunately Baltimore is one of the worst players in selling tobacco products to minors. It has cost the state more than $15 million in order to tap into Medicaid dollars simply because of the bad players in Baltimore City. What we're doing here is increasing to the maximum fine and penalty allowable by law the fines for being found in violation of selling tobacco products to minors. I'd like to thank my colleagues for co-sponsoring this legislation. Baltimore City leading the state in terms of health disparities, and when you look at some of the major causes of death are tobacco related. This is an area that we need to send a strong message to those violators in Baltimore City that we will not tolerate the continued violation of tobacco distribution to our youth, which clearly represent our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman Kern.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the council lady from the 8th District for introducing this. And she's right about the health disparities in this city, and a lot of it's due to tobacco-related illnesses, and it's been proven that the layering effect of prohibitions or increased penalties or increase the sales tax on tobacco, whatever it would be, people eventually quit, and that's a good thing. I proudly stand to be a co-sponsor of this, Council President.
This has been assigned to the Health Committee. Resolutions to be introduced.
City Council Resolution 15-0259R, informational hearing, Baltimore installation. Resolution for the purpose of calling on representatives from the Department of Public Works to appear before the City Council to discuss the progress of the Baltimore project and answer questions about the inspection of installed meters and plans for addressing any problems that may arise with the new meters. Sponsor President Young, Scott, Middleton, Henry, Stokes, Kraft, Clark, Welsh, Spector, Costello.
Please note Councilman Reisinger is a co-sponsor, Councilman Mosby, Councilman Kern, Councilman Branch. As most of you know, we are almost at the end of the Baltimore meters being installed in the city of Baltimore, and we just want to find out who's responsible after they all been installed. Is it the city? Is it the contractors? And when we have the hearing, we'll find out who's ultimately responsible when things go wrong. Is there a warranty where the contractors have to come back? Or do the citizens of Baltimore, through our Department of Public Works, have to make those repairs? So I'm looking forward to the hearing, and this has been assigned to the Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee.
City Council Resolution 15-0260, investigative hearing, reviewing charter-required agency audits. Resolution for the purpose of calling on representatives from the Finance Department, Law Department, and Department of Audits to appear before the council to provide a comprehensive update about the city's progress towards meeting the charter requirements that designated city agencies be audited at least once every 4 years. Explain why the current round of audits is behind schedule, as well as what the potential consequences of this delay may be, and discuss the city's plan for meeting this charter obligation in a responsible and timely manner. Sponsor Costello, President Young, Scott, Middleton, Henry, Stokes, Kraft, Holton, Welsh.
Please note Councilman Branch as a co-sponsor, Council Vice President Reisinger, Councilman Mosby as a co-sponsor. Chair recognizes Councilman Costello.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. This is a follow-up to an investigative hearing we held in January. There were commitments made at that hearing that the first round of audits would be completed by the end of June. There have been some delays. The Department of Finance's website says that the first round of audits should be completed around the September to November timeframe, and hopefully we'll get more information and what's being done to make sure that the audits do get done and we fulfill the charter requirement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Please note that Councilman Kern is the co-sponsor, and this has been assigned to the Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee.
City Council Resolution 15-0261R, request for federal action, prevent chemical disasters. Resolution for the purpose of calling on the Environmental Protection Agency to move quickly to finalize a strong rule requiring chemical plants and refineries to use the safest, cost-effective chemical and technology available in order to protect the millions of Americans, including many Baltimoreans, living in the shadows of potentially dangerous chemical facilities. Sponsor Henry, Scott, Clark, Kraft, President Young, Costello, Middleton, Holton, Stokes, Welsh, Spector.
Please note Councilmember Reisinger, Councilman Branch, Councilman Kern, Councilman Mosby. As co-sponsors, Chair recognizes Councilman Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've been informed by our friends at Mary Purg that the EPA should be making a decision on this rule shortly, and so I would ask to suspend the rules to permit immediate adoption tonight.
Second by Councilman Scott. All those in favor of suspending the rules for immediate adoption of this resolution say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The motion carried. The rules are suspended. Chair recognizes Councilman Henry.
Move favorable report on this.
Second by Councilman Scott. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 15-0261R, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries, and this resolution is adopted.
City Council Resolution 15-0262R, request for federal action, increasing the low-income home energy assistance program funding. Resolution for the purpose of urging the President of the United States and the members of the U.S. House and Senate Appropriations Committees to increase the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program funding to no less than $4.7 billion to ensure greater protections for minority, low, and fixed-income households that are struggling to pay their energy bills. Sponsor Holton, President Young, Costello, Middleton, Henry, Stokes, Kraft, Welsh, Specter, Clark.
Please note that Councilman Scott, Councilman Kern, Councilman Mosby, Councilman Reisinger, Councilman Branch as co-sponsors. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Holton.
Thank you, Mr. President. We in Baltimore know how effective and how necessary this program is, but there are communities across the country that are facing the same challenge. While Congress is considering and working on an appropriations bill at this time, it is important that we lend our voices with others across this country, expressing how important this program is and the difference it makes. There are a lot of things that we have to pay for that are increasing in energy costs are in that category. What is not going up in a timely manner are incomes and salaries, and that would make it possible to even entertain the increase in energy costs that residents are having to face. At this time, Mr. President, first I'd like to thank all of my colleagues who co-sponsored this resolution, but I'd ask to suspend the rules for immediate adoption of this resolution.
Second by Council Vice President Reisinger. All those in favor of suspend the rules for immediate adoption of this resolution say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion carries. The rules are suspended. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Holton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for immediate adoption of this resolution.
Second by Council Vice President Reisinger. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 15-0262R say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion carried and this resolution is adopted.
City Council Resolution 15-0263R, improving broadband internet access in Baltimore. Resolution for the purpose of supporting efforts to improve access to broadband internet service in Baltimore and calling for the development of city policies to advance these efforts, as well as a comprehensive broadband development and implementation plan for Baltimore City. Sponsor Clark, President Young, Scott, Costello, Middleton, Henry, Stokes, Kraft, Holton, Welsh, Specter.
Please note Councilman Reisinger is a co-sponsor. Chair, Councilman Mosby as a co-sponsor. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Clark.
Mr. President, members of the council, last week as I was sitting there counting the seconds before the delete button caused a delete, I was thinking about standing here tonight to say, we in Baltimore City deserve some competition. We need faster internet service. We need it more affordable. We need it now. And we are in a good position for that to happen. The mayor has just, and her task force has completed its report. It's given us options to choose from. We have a very active Baltimore Broadband Coalition, according to their survey of 1,100 households in Baltimore City. 97% of them are not happy with the internet situation and want improvements. I hope that we can have a hearing here soon to kind of move all these forces in the right direction so that we get moving with our internet service and have the competition to choose from. We, the city, must play a role. We have a lot of cards in our hand around that. We can institute a dig once program every time we fix a road, every time we fix do a construction project on a road bed. We can make sure we're laying some fiber optic cable. We have the ability to make fiber optic installation be part of our site review plans at the Planning Commission for different land use approvals, including building permits for 50 or more development projects. So there's a whole lot the city can do, and the city needs to decide now, okay, is the city going to run a new program, or is the city going to stand by and support some competition for a number of people to develop it? Whatever it is, let's go. so that we can get our children online, so that we can attract new businesses, and so that I don't have to sit waiting to count seconds after I push delete for it to go away. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been assigned to the Judiciary and Legislative Investigation Committee.
City Council Resolution 15-0264R, restoring 911 as an efficient and responsive public safety partner upon which Baltimore City callers can confidently rely for help. Resolution for the purpose of calling on the city administration and Baltimore Police Department to immediately restore 911 operators and dispatchers as public safety employees with the Baltimore Police Department, to cross-train operators and dispatchers so that both groups can handle either position, and to provide adequate staffing and sufficient management to avoid busy signals, delayed dispatch of crimes in progress, and other current miscommunications which have negatively affected citizen confidence in the 911 system, on which our calls for help and lives depend. On which our calls for help and very lives depend. Sponsor Mosby, Clark, President Young, Scott, Costello, Middleton, Stokes, Kraft, Holton, Welsh, Henry.
Please note that Councilwoman Spector is a co-sponsor, Council Vice President Reisinger, and Councilman Branch. Councilman Kern. Chair recognizes Councilman Mosby.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues, and thank you to my colleague in the 14th for working on this bill with me as well. The purpose of this bill is just calling on the city to say, at the end of the day, our residents, our citizens deserve a prompt and efficient service when they call 911. The expectation is if you call 911 that you would receive quality service and responsive service. Unfortunately, we've heard complaints in our community meetings and throughout the city that folks are calling and getting busy signals. At the end of the day, the police department are the gatekeepers to public safety in the city of Baltimore, and the operators should be public safety employees. We should give the police department the autonomy and the accountability and ownership to delivering that effective and quality service to the citizens of Baltimore. And this just examines of going back to the way it used to be. I think that at the end of the day, again, it's the police department's responsibility to deliver that service, and that's all we're asking, is that the police department be responsible and accountable to the citizens of Baltimore for ensuring that if they're a witness or a victim of a crime, that they get quality and responsive service. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been assigned to the Public Safety Committee.
City Council Resolution 15-0265R, equitable funding for city public charter schools. Resolution for the purpose of urging Baltimore City Public Schools to reconsider its inequitable proposed public charter school funding formula to ensure that adequate funds are allocated to all Baltimore students in accordance with state law. Sponsor Henry, Clark, Scott, Spector, Costello, President Young, Middleton, Stokes, Holton, Welsh.
Please note Council Vice President Reisinger, Councilman Welch as co-sponsors, Councilman Branch as co-sponsors. Chair recognizes Councilman, you co-sponsor? Kraft. Councilman Kraft as a co-sponsor. Chair recognizes Councilman Henry.
Do you want to co-sponsor this? Okay. Mr. President, I want to start off by saying I believe Councilman Mosby wishes to add his co-sponsorship to this, bringing the co-sponsorship to the full and unanimous body of the council.
Okay.
I think
Please
that's
note
important.
that Councilman Mosby is a co-sponsor. Okay.
I think that's important as we clear up a matter. There's been some talk that this is a fight between charters and public schools, which is ridiculous because charter schools are public schools. This is a fight between charter schools and the Baltimore City public school system. The charter schools are educating almost 15% of the kids in our school system, and they're already doing that with only 10% of the money. All public schools are no stranger to the idea that we are trying to increasingly build more bricks with less straw. And I recognize, and many of us are aware, that in North Avenue there are people who are making decisions, who are trying to make the best decisions that they can for all the children in all the schools. But the answer is not to hurt the schools that are doing well in their efforts to try to do better for the other schools. There are 26 charter schools that will be specifically and negatively impacted by the proposed funding formula that Baltimore City Public School staff has put before the Board of School Commissioners. There will be at least one public hearing that I know of run by the school system next Saturday, the 26th, at Mervo at 9 a.m. that I know many parents will be coming to express their concerns and their frustrations about this proposed formula. We have many parents here tonight, even when I told them that they weren't going to get a chance to actually say anything tonight, that this was just the introduction of a resolution which will go to a hearing, hopefully in the Education and Youth Committee that my colleague will announce later this evening. And that will be an opportunity for parents and other stakeholders to express their input firsthand on this funding formula. But I wanted to make it very clear when I was asked, well, could this be an investigative hearing or an informational hearing, one in which the City Council is trying to get to the bottom of something, because we do a lot of those kind of hearings. And Mr. President, as you recognize, this resolution is not an informational hearing. This is a resolution that takes a position. It takes a position that we want the school board to reconsider this formula. We are, during this portion of their public decision-making process, we are putting forth the idea that this formula is flawed and needs to go back to the drawing board. And I can't say it any clearer that schools that are succeeding at their job of educating our kids should be encouraged, not stripped of already meager resources. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been assigned to the Education and Youth Committee.
City Council Resolution 15-0266R, investigative hearing, one card, youth identification card, and access card to city services. Resolution for the purpose of exploring the efficacy of instituting a single identification card system to make accessing services easier and more convenient for young Baltimore City residents, examining the mechanism of the DC One Card system, and estimating the cost of implementing a similar system in Baltimore City. Sponsor Scott, President Young, Middleton, Holton, Costello, Henry, Stokes, Clark, Welsh, Spector.
Please note Councilman Mosby as a co-sponsor, Councilman Kern as a co-sponsor, Councilman Reisinger as a co-sponsor. Before I call on Councilman Scott, I want to welcome our former colleague, because I know he has to go, Councilman Kiefer Mitchell, who's joined us today. He's a former delegate, and he's the current special advisor to Governor Hogan. Welcome back home. Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and colleagues, this is something that I've spoken to you all individually about, and definitely with the school system and the finance department about. If you look at cities across the country, DC, Boston, New York, Los Angeles, Oakland, many of them are moving to one municipal ID for their young people and even their adults. This is a way that our young people can use the same ID for school, as the library, as the rec center, so that we can have better data to which to see what they actually like to do, not listen to what some adult who takes paper sign-ins from them is telling us they like to do, so that we can see what they like to do, but also make it more convenient for them. It will be very convenient. We shouldn't be printing out 3 different cards for children to use things in our city when we know we have the technology to do it on one, and it's being done that way across the board, across the country, and Baltimore should be next in line. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. This has been assigned to the Education and Youth Committee.
City Council Resolution 15-0267R, Step It Up to promote walking and walkable communities. Resolution for the purpose of supporting the U.S. Surgeon General's call to step it up and promote walking and walkable communities, and asking representatives from the city agencies most capable of promoting walking and walkability in Baltimore to report on the tangible steps that the city is taking to do so. Sponsor Middleton, Scott, Costello, Henry, Stokes, Holton, Kraft, Spector, Welsh, Clark.
Please note, Council Vice President Reisinger co-sponsored, Councilman Mosby is a co-sponsor, Council President Young is a co-sponsor, Councilman Kern as a co-sponsor. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Middleton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for all of the co-sponsorship. I kind of stumbled. First, I just want to mention I kind of stumbled into this initiative from an experience that I had within my district. And as we all know, Langston Hughes Elementary School went through a process of closure, and of course, it happened without the request, really, of the total community. After all of that was said and done, the students there had to be dispersed between two other schools, Pimlico Elementary Middle and Arlington. And it was all said and done that these students had to walk to these schools, which, if you know that particular area of Park Heights, you know it's a very troubling area that, you know, they have a lot of issues that we are constantly working on, and it's in the process of being revitalized. But there's still some hardcore drug problems and just safety hazards for our children. And the school system expected the children to walk to those schools. And we had to do marches and just prove to the school system that these children could not walk to these schools. And of course, we won that battle, and I thank the school system for realizing that these students had to be bused. But we shouldn't have to go through that. And this resolution is a sign that, you know, we have these types of issues throughout the whole country. And our U.S. Surgeon General, his name is Dr. Vivek, and I'm thinking of his last name, Murphy. He took the place of, just a little history, in 2013, Dr. Benjamin resigned, and Dr. Murphy was the appointee for our now U.S. Surgeon General. And he is promoting this walking and walkable communities throughout the entire country. And council members are members of the National League of Cities and the National Association of Counties, and they also support this initiative. So I'm trying to send a message out to all of our agencies, whether it's the police department, Department of Planning, parks, the school system. We really have to step up the plate, and as we're working within the communities, and while we're going through the process of trying to create jobs, everyone wants to walk to work, walk to school, walk to our faith-based institutions. We really need to consider these things as we look at our budgets and include all of these ideas. So again, I thank all of the council members for signing on, and let's continue to promote walking. Would like to request this immediate adoption.
You want to suspend the rules?
I want to suspend the rules for immediate adoption.
Second by Councilman Henry. All those in favor of suspend the rules for immediate adoption of the resolution say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion carried. The rules are suspended. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Middleton.
Thank you, council members, for
You
signing
move the
on.
resolution favorable.
I move favorable.
Second by Councilwoman Holton. All those in favor of adopting resolution 15-0267R, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carried. This resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Spector.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. Nobody walks as much as I do, and I do it because it's healthy. But in recognition of what the attention that my colleague has brought to the council, walking is only healthy if it's safe. And we share the district at that point. And where my young people have to walk because it's not the distance that the bus qualifies them to get by bus, the area that they have to go to the elementary school now is a open drug market from 7 in the morning until the evening. And I was lucky enough to meet with the police commissioner Davis this afternoon, and he has committed to meet there at Hayward, Cuthbert, where all those streets where the kids have to walk. They don't have the benefit of being dropped off at the parking lot. They're going to bring special attention. So walking is healthy. I'm living proof of it, but it has to be safe also.
Thank you.
City Council Resolution 15-0268R, investigative hearing, eliminating 911 connection problems. Resolution for the purpose of demanding that representatives from the Mayor's Office of Information Technology appear before the City Council to explain the inexcusable connection problems and busy signals that have prevented some callers from reaching 911 operators. Sponsor Mosby, Stokes, Welsh.
Please note that Council President Young is a co-sponsor, Vice President Reisinger, Councilman Branch, Councilman Kern, Councilman Kraft. Chair recognizes Councilman Mosby.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. This is a companion bill to 15-0264R. This is just specifically calling on the Mayor's Office of Information Technology to come forth with the statistics around 911 calls. Again, as we travel around the city in our respective communities, I know you guys are hearing the same complaints that I'm hearing of folks calling 911 and getting a busy signal. So whether you're a victim or whether you are a witness to a crime, it should be imperative that you get immediate access. This is a companion because we want to understand and know the statistics and the data from the past couple of years and why this trend of busy signals have increased, and see if MOAT has answers to specifically right. So this does not override the action of calling on 911 service operators to be transferred back into the police department. However, this is just asking MOAT, who's been operating the system for several years, to let us understand and know the statistics around busy signals and actual calls into 911.
Thank you. This has been assigned to the Public Safety Committee. You can find the consent calendar in Section A at the back of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar? Second by Councilman Kern. All those in favor of approving the consent calendar say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion carried. This calendar is approved. Chair recognizes Councilman Henry.
Move short titles for the remainder of the meeting.
Second by Councilman Scott. All those in favor of short title for the remainder of the meeting say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The motion carried. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Middleton.
Henry was also, he wanted to be a co-sponsor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to request floor privileges to do a presentation or an honoring of a special person.
Second by Council Vice President Reisinger. All those in favor of extending floor privileges to Councilwoman Middleton's guests say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion carried. Your guests may take the floor.
Hello, and as I'm doing this, I'd like all of his guests to head down in this direction so you can join us. We have here today a very special person that I think he deserves honoring. This is Principal Joe Manco, principal of Liberty Elementary Middle. And, also connected to Liberty Elementary Middle is Liberty Rec Tech Center, which yours truly, Kim Trueheart, you come on up too, because you are connected. And you remember, this person has been principal for about 6 years. And I'll move it quickly. He has just done a phenomenal job in the community and an excellent example of what a community school is, connecting a rec center and just one of the highest performing schools in the area. And our U.S. Secretary of Education recognized this as well, and he visited the school, Secretary Duncan. And just recently, Principal Manco was nominated 1 of 5 in the entire country as an education ambassador. And that's a big thing. So we have to give this principal a hand. And this is a wonderful public school that just educates our children so well. Just one other thing, it's 400 some kids at the school, they all have computers, laptops, whatever, so it's iPads. So it's, he is just doing phenomenal things, and I'll read this resolution real quick, and then we'll take a quick picture. The City Council of Baltimore resolution, be it hereby known to all that the City Council of Baltimore offers its sincerest congratulations to Joyce Manco in recognition of being named the U.S. Department of Education Ambassador. The entire membership extends best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution be presented on this 21st day of September, signed by the President, Bernard Jack Young, and all of the council members. And we can't thank you enough for being a wonderful role model and example of a principal. And it's always good to honor our principals because they have a very hard job, and we need to continue to wrap our arms around them in our communities and help all of our schools. So we cannot thank you again, and we're going to take a picture. And with him is his staff, members of his staff that do various things from teachers to volunteers. We thank you for joining him. Okay.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Spector.
I am so proud. I am a graduate of School 64 Liberty, and it's just a pleasure to see good people still involved and producing a great product. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. We will now move the bills on second reader. Executive Appointments Committee.
EA 15-0293, Julian Todd Andrews Lee, Member, Ethics Board, 11th District.
Chair recognizes Councilman Welch.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee held a hearing on Wednesday, September 9th, 2015, and I move the nomination favorable.
Second by Councilman Costello. All those in favor of confirming this nominee say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. This nomination is confirmed. Health Committee.
City Council Resolution 15-0239R, informational hearing. Baltimore City's efforts to make homelessness a rare and brief experience.
Chair recognizes Councilman Kern.
Thank you, Mr. President. On September 9th, the Health Committee conducted a public hearing on Bill 15-0239R entitled Baltimore City's efforts to make homelessness a rare and brief experience. It wasn't a rare and brief experience that night because it went on for 3.5 hours. But the committee received favorable testimony from the Mayor's Office of Human Services, Health Department, the Housing Authority, and Police Department. The public was also helpful in their testimony regarding how to best address the homelessness, and we heard from the Executive Director of Journey Home Initiative, the St. Vincent representative of St. Vincent de Paul Society, the Homeless Persons Representation Project, that's for legal services, Government's Ecumenical Development Corporation, Health Care for the Homeless, Marion House, which issues concerning homeless women, issues affecting homeless vets. We also heard from the people lacking ample shelter and employment. And the last but not least, we heard from Ms. Kim Trueheart, who spoke that night too. And it was a very insightful hearing. We were able to learn a lot of things. I want to recognize the sponsor, the gentleman from the Vice Chair of the committee, for comments on the bill.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Holton.
Thank you, Mr. President. It was a very good hearing that evening, and it will not be the last. It's good to see that, once again, we're gathering ourselves together to be one voice to understand this issue of homelessness in Baltimore City. It did offer some clarification around some misunderstandings for advocates of the community, and it gave everyone a sense of where we're moving to, that we are moving and making progress. We still have a long way to go before we can say, yes, we've got it and it will run on its own. But to hear the interests, concerns, and issues expressed by many who were in attendance was helpful. It was a full chamber here that evening, Mr. President, and that spoke volumes to the importance and significance of us continuing to do these type of briefings with more regularity so that everyone can stay on point to understand. Homelessness in Baltimore City should be a very brief experience and rare, and we're certainly moving in the direction to do that. Dr. Duvall Harvey gave hope that I think we have been missing for quite some time, that there are efforts to bring together housing and the Mayor's Office of Human Services with the advocates and with the smaller providers that are looking for how do they get the opportunity to participate in eradicating homelessness in Baltimore City. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Spector.
I can't help but add, Mr. President, members of the council, the unintended consequences that again fall on Baltimore to provide services. With the federal government reducing the funding for low-income housing all over the state, all over the country, it forces those needy people to come where the services are. They come to Baltimore because they're not offered in the counties or the outlying areas. And so we have to brace ourselves to take in people from other areas because they don't provide housing and services for the needy. Today, coming to City Hall, it was heartbreaking to see 3 people just lying in the middle of the street. 3 on the pavement, 3 people. And I fear that the winter coming and this funding, the defunding, reducing the amount of funding that will be available for people that really do need support and subsidizing, they're going to come to Baltimore and they're going to be a big burden to us because we have a conscience and we need to provide for them. So I don't know if you said they're going to be regular, but I hope that they will keep us up to date so that we can work on our federal representatives to let them know how this affects the people that we are responsible for.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman Kern.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I agree with the sponsor. It is a long way to go, but it was a great step in that direction. What we heard loud and clear is housing, whether permanent or transitional, employment to sustain the housing that they get, wraparound, all the wraparound services that go so they were able to sustain their living quarters and all that. And the bottom line, Mr. President, and I mentioned this at the hearing, we are going to be judged as not just a city government or the state government or a society, how we take care of the least of us. And we have a long way to go, as the sponsor says, and we need to continue this step to take care of the least of us. That's the only way we're going to be judged. I move favorable resolution 15-0239R.
Second by Councilwoman Holton. All those in favor of adopting this resolution say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion is approved. This resolution is adopted. Housing and Community Development Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0535, City Streets, closing Worcester Street.
Chair recognizes Councilman Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Housing and Community Development Committee heard this bill on September 3rd. There are no amendments. I move a favorable report on the bill.
Second by Councilwoman Clark. All those in favor of approving this bill say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion is approved. This bill moves to third reader.
Thank you.
Land Use and Transportation Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0487, zoning, office residence districts, accessory shops.
Chair recognizes Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, there's a technical amendment from my colleague's desk. I move the amendment.
Second by Councilman Kraft. All those in favor of approving this amendment say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion is approved. The amendments are adopted. Chair recognizes Council Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, I move the bill favorable as amended.
Second by Councilman Kraft. All those in favor of approving this bill say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion is approved. This bill moves to third reader.
City Council Bill 15-0525, rezoning 600, 700, and 706 South Eden Street and 711 South Central Avenue.
Chair recognizes Council Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, I move the finding of facts.
Second by Councilman Kraft. All those in favor of approving the finding of facts say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion to approve the finding of facts are adopted. Chair recognizes Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, there's no amendments. I move the bill favorable.
Second by Councilman Kraft. All those in favor of approving this bill say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion to approve this bill moves to third reader.
City Council Bill 15-0548, rezoning certain properties in the Barclay community.
Chair recognizes Council Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, I move the finding of facts.
Second by Councilman Stokes. All those in favor of approving the finding of facts say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion is approved. The finding of facts are adopted. Chair recognizes Council Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, there's no amendments. I move the bill favorable.
Second by Councilman Stokes. All those in favor of approving this bill say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion is approved. This bill moves to third reader.
City Council Bill 15-0559, rezoning 139 West Austin Street.
Chair recognizes Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, I move the finding of facts.
Second by Councilman Costello. All those in favor of approving the finding of facts say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion is approved. The finding of facts are adopted. Chair recognizes Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, there's no amendments. I move the bill favorable.
Second by Councilman Costello. All those in favor of approving this bill say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion is approved. This bill moves to third reader. Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0536, sale of property, former bed of Worcester Street.
Chair recognizes Councilman Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. President. We heard this bill on August 13th here in Chambers. All the agency reports were favorable. There was no unfavorable among agencies or any general public. I do move the bill as favorable, Mr. President.
Second by Councilman Henry. All those in favor of approving this bill say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion to approve this bill moves to third reader. Urban Affairs and Aging Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0547, Urban Renewal Barclay Amendment.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Middleton.
Mr. President, the committee heard this bill on September 17th, 2015. There is a technical amendment on your desk.
Second by Councilman Stokes. All those in favor of approving the amendment say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion is approved. The amendments are adopted. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Middleton.
I move the bill favorable as amended.
Second by Councilman Stokes. All those in favor of approving this bill say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion to approve this bill moves to third reader. Third reader to be held one meeting.
City Council Bill 15-0530, rezoning certain properties in the Sharp-Litten Hall community.
Third reader for final passage.
City Council Bill 14-0418, Alligating and Greening Program. President Young, Kraft, Scott, Kern, Henry, Specter, Middleton, Mosby, Holton, Reisinger, Costello, Stokes, Branch, Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 14-0463, rezoning a portion of 3901 Buena Vista Avenue. President Young, Kraft, Scott, Kern, Henry, Specter, Middleton, Mosby, Holton, Reisinger, Costello, Stokes, Branch, Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 15-0502, sale of property, NS Worcester Street, 417 through 10, Northwest Ridgely Street. President Young, Kraft, Scott, Kern, Henry, Specter, Middleton, Mosby, Holton, Reisinger, Stokes, Branch, Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 15-0504, collection of taxes, fees, etc., warning of lien and potential foreclosure. President Young, Kraft, Scott, Kern, Henry, Specter, Middleton, Mosby, Holton, Reisinger, Stokes, Branch, Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 15-0507, zoning conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to a two-family dwelling unit in the R8 zoning district. Variances 1912 West Baltimore Street. President Young, Kraft, Scott, Kern, Henry, Specter, Middleton, Mosby, Holton, Reisinger, Costello, Stokes, Branch, Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 15-0508, zoning conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to a two-family dwelling unit in the R8 zoning district. Variance 1806 West Baltimore Street. President Young, Kraft, Scott, Kern, Henry, Specter, Middleton, Mosby, Holton, Reisinger, Costello, Stokes, Branch, Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 15-0529, historical and architectural preservation, 50th anniversary reauthorization. President Young, Kraft, Scott, Kern, Henry, Specter, Middleton, Mosby, Holton, Reisinger, Costello, Stokes, Branch, Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 15-0544, sale of property, 3306 North Hilton Street, Unit 203. President Young, Kraft, Scott, Kern, Henry, Specter, Middleton, Mosby, Holton, Reisinger, Costello, Stokes, Branch, Clark.
This bill is approved. Committee announcements. Chair recognizes Councilman Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules to announce a hearing.
Second by Councilman Scott. All those in favor of announcing all those in favor of suspending the rules, announce a hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carried. Chair recognizes Councilman Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Judiciary and Legislative Investigations Committee will hear Council Bill 150569, city streets naming an unnamed alley Harry Way on Tuesday, October 6, 2015 at 9:30 a.m. here in the council chambers. Mr. President, this is an announcement on behalf of the Land Use and Transportation Committee, which the chairman has been so kind as to allow me to announce. Just a brief statement before this. This deals with Council Bill 150560, which was scheduled for a hearing on Wednesday, September 30th, 2015. This is a bill dealing with the rezoning of property located at 2030 Alisana Street. This property is a property that was scheduled to be rezoned from R8 to R10. There has been a lot of concern about this property. It was not approved. The rezoning was not approved by the Planning Commission. There is division in the community about the bill, and at the request of the developers, the development team, who have consistently reached out to work with the community because they have felt that this conflict is of such seriousness, they have requested that the hearing be actually canceled. So, Mr. President, the hearing on Council Bill 150560, scheduled for Wednesday, September 30th, 2015, is canceled.
All right, thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman Kern.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a rescheduling of a informational hearing. The Health Committee will hear City Council Resolution 15-0244R, Wednesday, October 21st. It was originally scheduled for October 7th, but because the Health Commissioner and some others had some issues, they couldn't be that night. So rescheduled for Wednesday, October 21st, 2015 at 5 o'clock. It's informational hearing for the Heroin Task Force report to have the folks, purpose of the Health Commissioner and co-chairs of Mayor's Heroin Task Force and Prevention Task Force to appear before the City Council to report on their findings and recommendation of the task force. And that will be October 21st at 5 o'clock in Duburn's Chamber. And the Health Committee will hear on Wednesday, November 3rd, 2015, City Council Bill 15-0558. It's the animal fighting paraphernalia. It's for the purpose of prohibiting the possession, sale, transfer, or manufacturing of animal fighting paraphernalia with the intent to engage in or otherwise promote or facilitate an animal fight. And that is on Wednesday, November 3rd, 2015 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more committee announcements on this side? Chair recognizes Councilman Henry. I can't see around Kern.
I'm in touch with that motion, sir. The Housing and Community Development Committee will hear City Council Bill 15-0551, franchise Crown Castle NG Atlantic LLC, on Thursday, October 8th at 1:30 p.m. here in council chambers. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more committee announcements? Committee announcements. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Clark.
Mr. President, members of the council, I need to move to suspend the rules to allow announcement of this hearing.
Second by Councilman Henry. All those in favor of suspend the rules to announce the hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carried. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Clark.
Thank you. The Education and Youth Committee of the City Council will hold a hearing on October 7th. What day of the week is that? That's Wednesday. October the 7th, 2015 at 5 p.m. in these chambers. And this is the hearing on the equitable funding of city public charter schools resolution. So that is Wednesday, October the 7th, 2015, 5 o'clock in the City Council chambers. Picture ID required for entry and admission to City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand to announce 3 hearings on taxation, finance, economic development. The first is Bill 15-0550 this Thursday, 10 a.m. here in Chambers, to sale of property, a portion of the former bed of Dickman Street. The second is on Thursday, October 22nd, Bill number 15-0246R, informational hearing, funding recreation centers by selling the city-owned Hilton Hotel. That's Thursday, October 22nd here in Chambers. And then I move for suspension of rules 10-2 and 10-3.
Second by Councilwoman Clark. All those in favor of suspending rules and announce the hearing, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Chair recognizes Councilman Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is to hear Council Bill 15-0260R, Thursday, October 1st, 2015, 10 a.m. here in Chambers. Is a resolution for investigative hearing on the reviewing of charter-required agency audits. That's Thursday, October 1, 10 a.m. here in Chambers. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman Branch.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Tuesday, October 20th at 4 p.m., the Public Safety Committee will hold an informational hearing on Bill 15-0231R, Community Policing, Officer Friendly. I have 3 other ones also. On Wednesday, November 4th at 5 p.m., the Public Safety Committee will hold a televised hearing on Bill 15-0252R, request for state action, Baltimore City Police Commission. On Wednesday, November 4th at 5 p.m., the Public Safety Committee will hold a televised hearing on 15-0253R, request for state action, strengthening the Civilian Review Board. And the last one, but not least, on Tuesday, November 4th at 4 p.m., the Public Safety Committee will hold a hearing on 15-0255R, request for state action, special sales tax on handguns and handgun ammunition to fund police body cameras. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman Welch.
Thank you, Mr. President. Executive appointments will hold a hearing on October 14th, 2015, televised at 5 p.m. in council chambers to hear Council Bill 15-0294, Kevin Davis as Police Commissioner. And on Wednesday, October 21st, 2015, at 5 p.m. in council chambers, we will hear Council Bills 15-0295, Gloria Diggs as a member of the Commission on Disabilities, Council Bill 15-0296, Lori Patria as a member of the Commission on Disabilities, and Council Bill 15-0297, Jessica Salmon as a member of the Commission on Disabilities. And on that same date, we will hear Council Bill 15-0298, Maria Gabriela Aldana Enriquez as a member of the Hispanic Commission, and Council Bill 15-0299, Patricia Leftke as a member of the Hispanic Commission. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes Council Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, the Land Use and Transportation Committee will hold a hearing on Bill 15-0542. This is a rezoning on certain properties in the Remington Central Business Area. This hearing was originally scheduled for Wednesday, September 16th, and now it's being rescheduled for Wednesday, October the 14th. The committee will also hold a hearing on Bill 12-0062 on Wednesday, October the 14th at 1:30 p.m. in the council chambers. This is a planned unit development designation at Halliburton Manor condos. The committee will hold a hearing on Bill 15-0503 on Wednesday, October 21st at 1 p.m. in the council chambers. This is a zoning, it's a conditional use for a secondhand store located at 2412 East Monument Street. The committee will hold a hearing on Bill 15-0545 on Wednesday, October 21st at 1:15 at the council chambers. This is a zoning, it's a conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to a three-family dwelling unit in the R8 zoning district. Variances also and located at 704 North Gilmore Street. Mr. President, members of the council and the committee, the land use will have a voting session on Bill 12-0152, which is Transform Baltimore, Thursday, which is this Thursday, September 24th, at 11 a.m. in the council chambers. This will be televised. The committee will also have a hearing on Bill 12-0152, which is Transform Baltimore. This is in regards to map amendments on Thursday, October the 8th at 6 p.m. located at Baltimore Polytech Institute, which is located at 1400 West Cold Spring Lane in Baltimore, Maryland. Also, the committee will hold a hearing in regards to map amendments for City Council Bill 12-0152 on Tuesday, October 13th at 6 p.m. This is at the Morgan State University at the Murphy Fine Arts Center located at 2201 Argonne Drive. Also, the committee will hold a hearing on Bill 12-0152, which is Transform Baltimore. The map amendments Thursday, October the 15th at 6 p.m. This will be held at the Digital Harbor High School located at 1100 Covington Street. Also, the committee will hold a hearing on 12-0152 Transform Baltimore. This also map amendments Wednesday, October 21st at 6 p.m. The location is at Southeast Anchor Library located at 3601 Eastern Avenue, and all these hearings will be televised. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Regular announcements. Chair recognizes Councilman Henry. I'm asking council people to be very brief in your announcements.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is actually being done at the request of the Baltimore City State Central Committee. The Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee is presently accepting resumes to fill one regular position on the State Central Committee for the 43rd Legislative District. To apply, one must be a current registered Democratic voter in the state of Maryland, a resident of the 43rd Legislative District, and applicants must be at least 18 years of age. Resumes for consideration must be postmarked no later than Saturday, October 10th, 2015. All resumes must be sent to Ms. Beatrice Brown, District Chair, Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee, P.O. Box 23762, Baltimore, Maryland, 21203-5762. Interviews will be held on Wednesday, October 14th, 2015 at Edner 1 at Stadium Place Building, number 1040, across from Old Eastern High School on 33rd Street, beginning at 5:30 p.m. Applicants will be notified of their specific interview times. For questions or concerns, contact Beatrice Brown at 410-916-5446 or email belgobal@aol.com. The other announcement I have to make on a more somber note is this past weekend was the 7th anniversary of the murder of former Councilman Kenneth N. Harris Sr. And so I would ask that we have a moment of silence at the end of this meeting in his memory. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Councilman Kern.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll try to be as brief as I can, but I need a little personal privilege here concerning the meeting that we attended last Friday night with the mayor and yourself, Council President, and to some misrepresentations of my position on the Rural Farm Store up at Glenmore. It's a very contentious issue, as you know, Council President. Last Friday, the Planning Department made a memorandum that supersedes a memorandum dated back in 2013 that approved it for the from the Planning Department. They made a recommendation of disapproval. As you know, Council President, I gave you a copy of that. I wanted folks to understand, and I knew that was a very contentious meeting the other night, Mr. President. Thank you that you attended. I didn't say I was reversing my position on that. I said I was standing behind the Planning Department's disapproval. Now the question is, legal question is, and I talked to folks from the director of the Planning Department today, and I spoke to the Law Department folks, is if the BMZA, Mr. President, approves any project, but the Planning Department is in disapproval and recommendations because if whatever reasons they did, what happens to the permit process, even though the BMZA, and I've spoken to our good friend from the Law Department I'm representing here tonight, what is the process? If the planning department disapproves, can they approve the permits on something that they disapprove? Or can the other agency, transportation, or other agencies, police and fire, can they disapprove something that the BMZA says okay? It's a legal question which has never been met. There's been some precedent set by this, and I've spoken to a member of the Representative Planning Commission. There will be some groundbreaking precedent legal decisions on this as to what is the BMZA's rule. If they approve something but other agencies disapprove, does the project go forward? My position, Council President, and the folks know at home, that I originally supported the program, and I stand by that, but I also am standing by the Department of Planning's recommendation for disapproval, because that is a hurdle that the project cannot overcome, I believe, at this time, until I get legal opinions from the law department.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Middleton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to wish a wonderful happy birthday to Miss Edna Harris, the mother of Dr. Helen Dale. She's 102. So happy birthday, Edna Harris.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Clark.
Thank you. Mr. President, members of the council, I just want to mention, we've been talking a lot about public safety, about nominating a commissioner, about moving operators and dispatchers back under the authority of the police department, which is their proper role. There's one other issue there's so many issues, but one I want to put on the table for our consideration and thinking as we enter this fall season and this new year, Lashana Tova. So it is this. Time and time again in my district, and especially within the Northern District Police area, coincidentally, we have a situation in which a disturbed, mentally ill, or doesn't take their meds kind of guy, or even sometimes woman, gets out of control in a chronic, regular way and begins to vandalize and do harm. The constituents in our district, in my district, say, finally, do something about this. I can't have this happening. It's destroying my business. It's scaring me when I'm coming home from work at night. Things like that. Do something, but help this person. So people want help from the person, but they want help for the person. The police department does its job in this regard, but they can only intervene, and if the person is acting violent or is vandalizing or acting totally out of control, they can take him to an emergency room, and perhaps he'll even be admitted for 48 hours or something. The reason I'm raising this is we need, certainly in the three districts I'm involved in, we need some kind of coalition, partnership with mental health providers and advocates and outreach workers who will work with our local police to help stop this revolving door that these patients and the police officers face, so that my constituents want to be protected from someone, but they want protection for that person as well. And that's more than we can do all by ourselves. So I don't have the solution. We're starting to talk about working on it at Northern Police and see if we can put teams together. But I'd be grateful if we could kind of keep it in our minds. I'm sure that my colleagues, that you have the same issues in every one of the districts you represent. That stray person who has somehow gone awry, needs help, and then all of a sudden gets to be a nuisance as well, and even scary. and what to do and how to put the police together with the health department maybe and with health providers and mental health providers. So it's the next issue on my own agenda, so I thought I might as well announce it before I start driving you nuts talking about it and trying to work out solutions. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, members.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Council Vice President Reisinger. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Holden. Be very brief.
Thank you, Council President. I will be very brief. I just want to say that this month of September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. It is an important time for all men who are often hesitant to go to the doctors for physical exams, period. But it has been shown time and time again that taking a simple blood test, having your PSA count determined, is early advance to ward off what has become very treatable in terms of prostate cancer for men. That's why I'm wearing blue today and would encourage all to sport some blue this month in support and solidarity for Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Council Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, the next meeting of the City Council will be held on Monday, October 19th at 5 p.m. in the council chambers, and I ask for a moment of silence for former Councilman Kenneth N. Harris, Sr.
Thank you. There being no further business, this concludes the 99th meeting of the 71st term of the Baltimore City Council. Good night.